Hey everyone, Mauricio here. In this sneak peek video for episode 14, we'll be giving you a short overview of the changes this week at Starbase Texas. These images were taken from the flyover conducted yesterday on Wednesday, August 24th, so stay tuned for additional images, renders, and more in our full 20-minute video coming out on Sunday as well as our Starbase Weekly show on Saturday. Let's kick off with a look at the SpaceX testing site located at the former home of Massey's gun range. Starting at the top near the Rio Grande River, we can see a new contender has entered the area where few survive. Test Tank S-26.1 appears to be in the same location as Test Article B6 before it met its untimely demise via an FTS blast back in May. Will they do the same to this tank? Moving over to the booster puck shucking stand, it appears it took a short journey from its former location to a new spot just to the south. Work continues on the stand in preparation for the next booster test article, which should be Booster 11. Finally, the footings for the new building are no longer visible this week, with a slab having been poured to connect them all together since last week. We still believe this could be a new workshop for a mezzanine above for our office space. And that's it for Massey's. Let's move on down Highway 4 to the Sanchez site. Over at Sanchez, we can see more progress is being made on the new stands being constructed. Your guess is as good as ours as to what these will be used for or where, but it appears these current stands being constructed may not be the last if we look at the parts and pieces lying around still. Moving over to the east, we see staircases continue to be built and wait for transport to the launch site for stacking on the launch tower. And looking up at the new storage tank being constructed, we can see it continues to grow and a stiffener ring has been added. Over at the Rocket Garden, TPS work continues on Ship 25 in anticipation of what could be its final rollout ahead of the second integrated test flight. Let's hope this process doesn't take as long as it did for Ship 24. Let's move on to the build site, shall we? Looking at the wide view of the build site, we can see quite a few obvious changes from 10,500 feet. Seen last week was the beginning of the teardown of Tents 1 and 2. We can now see Tent 2 is no more, with only scraps remaining in the area that once housed the beginnings of some of the first ships and boosters built in Boca Chica. Tent 1 remains, but its days are certainly numbered, it appears. Looking up towards Mega Bay 2, we can see roof trusses are being built on the ground, staircase sections waiting to be installed, and bridge crane beams on standby waiting for the final components to arrive. Before switching angles to check on the mid-bay, we can see progress continues to rapidly increase for Phase 2 of the Star Factory building. The roof section connecting the existing and future Star Factory buildings together is nearly complete, while the next major support beams are rising down closer to Highway 4. Before moving to the launch site, let's see how Mid-Bay is doing. Mid-Bay has seen better days. We can see sheeting has been removed from the bottom portions of the structure, and the large section of the ring yard cordoned off for what could be a spectacular ending to its life at the build site. Do you think they'll pull it down like they did at the low bay? Let me know what you think in the comment sections. Moving on to the launch site, we can see that SpaceX started building a perimeter wall just behind the suborbital tank farm. This is speculated to be a new crane yard where they will store the cranes during testing and launches. Moving to the right, we can see that all the pedestals for the new horizontal tanks have been poured with concrete, evidence that SpaceX is on track for the orbital tank farm expansion. Over at the tank farm itself, we can see that the new methane subcooler has been lifted into place, which once completely installed, it should increase the methane filling capacity, enabling them to reduce propellant load times for testing and launches. Now onto the much anticipated orbital launch mount. The most noticeable change is that Booster 9 is now at the pad again. It was transported from the production site on Tuesday, August 22nd, shortly after the passage of Tropical Storm Harold, and lifted with the chopsticks a short while after. SpaceX said the booster was being rolled out for additional pre-flight testing, which was demonstrated on Wednesday, August 23rd with the completion of a 33-engine spin prime. If we look at the orbital launch mount base, the Fondag areas that were excavated previously on the side of the legs, as well as some on the tank farm side, were re-poured with Fondag. Also, we can see the cracks previously seen in the Fondag have now been filled in or marked for future inspection. Earlier today, Booster 9 static fire successfully lit all 33 Raptor engines, with all but 2 running for the full duration. This is according to SpaceX. This test produced approximately 7.9 million pounds of thrust. Here's some footage from our remote camera we set up for this test. I'm happy to say that despite what we see on the footage, the camera actually survived. And that's it for our brief overview of the changes at Starbase this week. Consider supporting us on Patreon to gain access to premium flyover pictures. This support also helps pay for the expenses associated with the flyover. Stay tuned for the full 20-minute full analysis video coming out on Sunday. Thanks for watching, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed our content, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on seeing more videos like this. That's all for now.